All right. Are you gentlemen ready, or did you want to wait?
No, you're fine.
Okay. So just for the record, it is the 27th of August, 2024. My name is Skylar Sparks. I'm the District Attorney for San Andreas. To my right is...
Assistant District Attorney Spring Daffodil.
Okay. And if we could just have everyone else in the room just state your name for the record, please. It's an
Yep.
audio recording.
Shawn Braddington.
Defense Attorney Harvey Litt.
Captain Joe Ferraro, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department.
Sergeant William Cole, Los Santos Sheriff's Department.
Okay. So obviously at this time, Mr. Braddington, we're not putting you under arrest or anything like that, but just for the record, I will be reading your general Cassie rights. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney. Should you not be able to afford one will be provided to you by the state of San Andreas free of charge, should there be one available. And you also have a right to a bench trial should there be any charges pressed against you. Again, I'm not charging anything for you today. You have an attorney, but do you have any questions about those rights?
Nope.
Okay.
I have one question.
Yeah, go for it.
What's the nature of this conversation?
So he was an officer that was involved on a scene where a suspect did pass away. So I wanted to get your side of things, understand your perspective, basically when you arrived on scene, if you have any history with the person, etc. So part of my job, to get, like I was saying in the car, but just to have it on record, being the district attorney in the state of San Andreas, we work for the people. Whether that means that there's a thing where we quote unquote police the police or police other government entities. That's true in a sense, but not necessarily true. I like to get all sides of everything. Whether you are a career criminal, whether you are just caught into something, or whether you're an officer that made a mistake, or an officer that's purposefully taking action. I don't really care. I want to get all sides of things before you proceed, and it's an active investigation, and I think it's fair that you say your side. That's my opinion on the situation.
Harvey?
Is this going to be a conversation or interrogation?
As far as I'm aware, it's a conversation. I mean, it's recorded, so we're not in an interrogation cell.
I'll just tell you not to say something if I feel they're what they're hunting. Okay.
All right. So I was on routine patrol. A 13 Alpha went off. So immediately their response, and what we're trained to do is respond to the scene.
It doesn't.
Every available unit.
I'm gonna stay quiet,
Just
sorry.
upon arrival, the situation was called Code 4, meaning it was handled. Dingerville was incapacitated, and that's the only thing went over radio. I then ran around to the scene. I kicked the individual on the side and immediately tended to Officer Fox, which is a 13 Alpha downed officer, tending to her wounds. After that, the officer and the individual were transported to Mount Zona. While I was still in there with Fox, Sergeant Maddox came to me, told me I was to be sent off duty for 24 hours and seek counseling to an individual that has died. The report states that Maddox hit the individual with a baton to the chest, and the individual died from me stomping him on the head, which is not an accurate statement. The individual was already incapacitated upon arrival, and after that I immediately gave my statement and went off duty.
Okay.
Never seen the individual, never talked to the individual, never been involved in anything like this. That's for sure.
Hey, it's gonna be okay. Take a breath. It's a conversation. It's generally, I'm not gonna sit there and put a light over you and do the whole where were you on the night of the 18th kind of thing. I would be in a lot different disposition if I was gonna sit here and start accusing you of certain actions. That's why you're here, Mr. Braddington, so I get your side of things. So it's okay. Take a breath. We'll be fine. So let's back up then. If we're going to be direct about things, let's back up to prior to your arrival. You said a 13 Alpha went off, right?
Yes.
How far were you away from the 13 Alpha prior to the 13 Alpha going off?
The situation happened on Covenant Avenue.
Okay.
The third house on the left facing eastbound in the backyard. I was roughly at Roy Lowenstein. Yeah, about Roy Lowenstein, kind of by Davis PD. So just a few blocks away.
Gotcha. So it only took a few seconds then? How long did it take you to get there?
Well, what happened was Maddox came over the radio out of breath. They were fighting the suspect.
Okay.
I immediately headed that way, and then the A13 Alpha went off immediately following that. It took me roughly 10, 15 seconds to arrive.
Okay, so fairly quick.
Yes.
What did you first observe when you got on scene?
I observed Fox to the left, incapacitated. Observed the other guy, feet towards me, head towards the wall, also incapacitated.
Gotcha. Okay. Were there any other officers on scene that you noticed at the time?
Yes. The only officer that I noticed upon arrival was Maddox. Didn't pay too much attention.
Gotcha. Okay. So when you arrived, what vehicle were you driving?
I was driving the LSSD Buffalo.
Gotcha. Okay. So when you got out of the vehicle, how far away were you from like the 13 Alpha? How far away from you were from the suspect or the individual?
I parked in the front of the house, and it was in the backyard.
Okay. So how long did it take to get from the vehicle to the area with the 13 Alpha?
4 or 5 seconds.
Oh, it's pretty quick. Okay, cool. How long have you, just real quick, how long have you like generally worked in law enforcement?
I've been hired by the department since the end of December, beginning of January.
Oh, okay. You have plenty. Okay. So wait. So when I asked this question, did you see anything else, like any other possible threat on scene?
I did, at the time I did not.
Gotcha.
It all happened pretty quickly.
No, yeah, no. We're talking basically less than a minute at this point, is from my understanding. Okay. So, at that point, you said you ran over and kicked him in the side. Where in the side did you end up kicking him? Do you remember?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was laying on his stomach. It was the right side.
Okay, so it wasn't like in his ribs or in his arms or like in
No,
his.
it wasn't that far up.
Right. Yeah, no worries. Okay. Let me look at my notes. Did you pay attention to who the 13 Alpha was on, or did you just say, "Hey, 13 Alpha," and you went to the location? I'm just curious.
It states who the 13 Alpha
Okay.
was
Okay.
alerted by, and it was Jennifer Fox.
Gotcha. Okay. And you said, as far as the suspect is concerned, the gentleman who was already down, you've never met him before, right?
Never met him. Never had any interaction. I haven't even looked at the individual's MDW profile, but I
That's fair.
I don't believe there's much there.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. Unless you're really a government worker, you really don't end up adding anything on there unless you get arrested a lot. Which, well, I guess he won't be getting arrested, will he?
Too soon.
Yeah, probably, honestly. Did you? So you didn't know Stephanie Meyer? You said you saw Maddox. Have you worked with Maddox before?
Yeah. Yep. I've worked with Maddox. Yes.
Okay.
I don't believe Maddox is the biggest fan of me.
I actually don't know the answer to that. But that's unfortunate. I would really hope you guys got along. Have you ever like worked or ridden alongside him or anything like that? Like, what brings that opinion of him
I've
about
had
you?
2 different scenes where he's instead taking pictures of me or pulling off of the scene when I needed assistance.
Okay, so basically not much is what I'm
Correct.
kind of gathering. Have you worked with Jennifer Fox before?
Yep.
What's are you like? How much have you worked with Jennifer Fox?
Shawn, let's talk real quick.
All right.
Okay. Sure. Let me pause the recording then. Audio recording. There was about a 3 or 4 minute pause. No one in the room has changed. Okay. Did you need us to re-ask the question, Mr. Braddington?
Yes, please.
Have you and Jennifer Fox worked together before?
We're around on the same shift.
How well do you know her?
I know her as well as working the same shift as her.
Have you ever ridden together?
She may have taken me to my car, but no.
Gotcha. Okay, so you wouldn't have, responded on scenes. If we look at reports or anything, you guys won't be on the same reports very consistently.
Well, we do simply because the first shift, there's about 3 or 4 officers in the city.
Okay.
The rest are, maybe in the county or Polito, but the numbers aren't inflated in the morning time.
No, not really. Yeah, I get that. So you would say your relationship with her is like equivalent to Maddox, where you don't really know her or anything like that?
Well, no, Maddox doesn't like me, and I don't think Jennifer doesn't like me. So it's not the same. I think not many relationships I have on the police force as acquaintances, friends are the same as Maddox. I think Maddox has a dislike for me, also to the fact that he was talking to Jennifer and no longer is, and then he sees us responding to calls, and I think he's got us out for me.
Because you happen to be responding with Jennifer?
Because he's not around her as much, he sees me around her simply because we're responding to calls, and I think that he thinks that we are together.
Gotcha. Are
Are
you
you
together?
together?
We are not.
Gotcha. Would you want to be?
Don't answer that, Shawn.
I mean, why not? I mean, very clearly you work together pretty close too. You have, brothers in arms, very stressful situation. She gets a 13 alpha and you rush over there fairly quickly and go directly to her.
Don't answer that, Shawn.
Well, I will say I'm not going to answer that, but when I did arrive and Maddox is treating the individual rather than her, yes, that's an officer 13 alpha. That is my priority. Yes.
Oh, so you arrived when he was treating her and then you went over and then stomped on him.
No, he was standing there, and then immediately after I did that, he's tending to that guy, and Fox is laying over there alone. And he directed me to go tend to
So why
Fox.
would you stomp on the guy is my question. Like what's the point in doing that when he's already on the ground?
We're going to decline to answer that.
Okay. Well, I don't have any further questions then. Spring, do you have any questions?
Nope.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording then unless Captain, do you have anything?
I think we're just observers here.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. All right, we'll go ahead and end the recording then. All right, perfect. I'll be honest, it's probably gonna take a couple days. One, to parse through the information. Two, to get everything together. But I will let. Which division are you in, Mr. Braddington?
He's with me.
Oh, LSSD. Okay, yeah, I'll let LSSD know about the investigation from the DA's office, and yeah, they'll pass over the information for you.
All right.